Are men intimidated by women more successful than themselves? Number one. And then if they are, why are they? Before I explain it, before I go into it, I want to ask you, are men intimidated by women more successful than themselves and as a result avoid pairing up with them? And if it's true that they are, why is that? I'm asking you guys. Yes, they are. Ghadir. Okay? Yes, they are. Tell me, why do you say that? I don't know if you're a guy or a girl. Walaikum assalam, Shahan. How you doing? Tell me why you say that, bro. Why do you think men are intimidated by women more successful than themselves in the workplace, and as a result of that, tend to avoid pairing up with those type of women? Because one of the main duties for a man is to provide. On the right tracks. I think they're intimidated of the feeling of not being able to provide. Very good. Excellent. Good. Now we have to define this even more closely. And I'm going to pause these comments because it gets I can't concentrate. So, a man by his nature, I want you to think of a caveman. You got a caveman with his big club and his thing, whatever you can call it, and he goes off into the jungle and he goes hunting. He needs to bring food home for the family. The family are relying on him to bring food home for that day. Lo and behold, this great big mammoth comes out of the wilderness and he grabs his, well, you can't kill a man with a bow and arrow, so I'm guessing it's going to have to be a spear or something, right? He kills the mammoth, slays the mammoth, very happy. Looking forward to bringing it home to show off to his wife and kids that look what I brought you guys to eat. Rocks up to the cave house, turns up to the cave house, and then guess what he finds? He finds that his wife already has 10 mammoths. All of his toil, all of his sweat, all of his trouble for that day, wasted. For no reason. Suddenly he feels redundant. He feels like he has no use. The way that a man exercises his masculinity is by providing for his woman and his family. Suddenly, because his wife already has 10 mammoths at home, his mammoth that he just brought home, there's no purpose for it. It serves no purpose. There is no need for it. As a result, he feels insecure. So the insecurity is not because she is more educated than him or earns more than him per se. It's the result of her earning more and what that means to him. It means that his provision, his sweat, his toil is not needed. It's a bonus, sure. We got an extra mammoth in the house, 11 mammoths, great. But was it needed? No, he doesn't feel needed. A man knows that a woman is choosing her spouse principally on the basis of security. Yeah, I've used the word money in the past. I think money has a negative connotation. Women are looking for security with men. Security is the word. If she feels you're a man who cannot provide security, it's unlikely she will pair up with you. Women tend to go for men who are secure. And the more secure they are, meaning the more they earn, and that's one aspect of security, granted, but let's just stick with that for now. The more secure they are, the more desirable they are to many women. Now, suddenly, if this man's security is not valued, he knows that this is the thing that women value most about him. If there is no use for him now with this security, he feels insecure. He feels like he's not needed. And now we can flip the question the other way. What do women know from us men that we tend to look for in them? What's one of the first things we look for, if not the first thing? Attraction, beauty. It's like, if you can't pass the beauty test with a man, and granted, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Not everyone has to be a 10, okay? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But if she doesn't pass the beauty test with a man, he can't progress to the next step of her character and so on. So, let's say now we have a couple that have come together. They've gotten married. They're happy with each other. And then the lady, let's call her Joanne. Joanne, one day, she decides to beautify herself for her husband in an extravagant way. She goes to the mall, she buys herself a beautiful sequin dress, she buys herself a pair of Louboutin high heels with a nice red bit on the sole, she buys herself a new pair of earrings, the latest, I don't know, face stuff, whatever you guys call it, foundation, mascara, eyeliner, and so on. She spends a couple of hours later on that evening in front of the mirror beautifying herself. And she looks forward to now presenting herself to her husband. After all this effort throughout the day of making herself look incredible. She walks down the stairs later that evening and she makes her grand entrance, presents herself to her husband. Her husband looks at her and says, "You right, babe? How you doing?" And then carries on watching the footy. How does she now feel? How does this woman feel? I can tell you right off the bat, without even waiting for an answer, this woman feels insecure. He didn't acknowledge my beauty. Do I look ugly? Is there something wrong with my dress? Are my shoes off? Is my makeup off? What's going on? Do I look older to him now? Am I uglier? And all of these crazy thoughts start flying through her mind. Because she knows that a man values beauty right up there, if he doesn't give her that acknowledgement after all this effort that she's been through, acknowledging her beauty, she feels insecure. Now, we have to progress from this question because men often get criticized. You're just scared of pairing up with a woman who's more intelligent than you or earns more than you and so on. I say to you women, do you want to pair up with a man who earns significantly less than you? Do you? Because you're hypergamous by nature. Women tend to marry across and up dominance hierarchies. You don't want to get with a bum. If you're earning 70k a year, you don't want to get with a man who's earning 20k a year. You don't want that for yourself. So why do you make these comments? Why do you insult men? You're insecure and so on and so forth when you yourself don't want men lower down dominance hierarchies than yourself. And I will conclude this opening saga on this final point. I was once duetted. I've been duetted about, I don't even know, 30,000 times on TikTok over the past month. I watched maybe 5 of them. One of them was a man. I don't remember who he is now. And he was mocking me. He was saying, "What nonsense is this? You know, we need to share the bills 50-50 these days." He's talking a load of rubbish. And I say to that man this, that's absolutely right. That's how low value men think. Men who are happy to pair up the dominance hierarchy to get with a woman who is out earning him are men who want you women to pay the bills. Period. He is looking forward to kicking back, relaxing, and having you pay the bills. If not all of the bills, at least half of the bills. I ask you ladies, is that what you want? You mock men for being insecure. So I say to you, okay, then pair up with those men who are happy to marry you as a woman who out-earns him and then pay the bills. But you see, you don't want that. You don't like that. So again, knowledge is enlightenment. I don't want to hear from women anymore saying to men, "You're insecure" about this topic. I don't want to hear that. Because the truth is, you are just as insecure if he didn't acknowledge your beauty after you've made a huge effort to make yourself look beautiful that day. We're human beings. We all suffer from insecurities of some sort. We're not robots here. And any half-decent human being who wants to be a half-decent human being would like to be acknowledged for those things that he or she does and does well. When you ladies do your makeup beautifully and you look incredible that day, you want to be acknowledged. When a man goes out toiling all day long in that forest hunting that mammoth and he comes home with that mammoth, he wants to be acknowledged. Now we can take this one final step. And I had a comment on one of my TikTok posts, and the lady, I don't know if you're on the live now, Sadie, you made a valid point, Sadie. And her point was this. But some men, they like to rub it in their women's faces that they're providing for them. They like to pick it up and rub it in their face. Oh, and I buy you this, and I got you that, and I did the other, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm a Muslim. My beliefs are centered and grounded in my religion, firstly and foremostly. And as a Muslim, it is impermissible, it is haram for any Muslim, man or woman, to remind the other person of the favors upon them. When you do something for someone, you never bring it up, ever. You don't bring it up. It's done. You did it for the sake of Allah, period, finished. You cannot then say to that person afterwards, but I did such and such for you. This actually one is big haram in the sight of Allah. I cannot remember if, I believe it's a major sin. Al-Man is the one who reminds people of his favors. And interestingly, it is also a violation of one of the 48 laws of power. To never remind people of the favors you have bestowed upon them. Why? Think about it. Think of the last time you did something for someone, and then they came around and said to you, oh, do you remember when I did such and such for you? How did you feel? I bet you felt like you wished you could rid yourself of this favor that they did for you, and you want nothing to do with that person ever again. It makes you feel like a charity case, like you're cheap. And that's why a lot of women, as a result of this, have said to themselves, you know what? We're going to make our own way in life. We want independence. We don't ever want a man to say to us ever again, I bought you this, that, and the other. I understand. Because in my religion, in Islam, it is haram to say to anyone, I did this, that, and the other for you. You should do it for the sake of Allah, and that's it, period. So a man shouldn't say this to his woman. But equally, I say to you ladies, you should also show gratitude to your men for what they do for you. And this is the happy balance that we have in the middle. The man, it's his job to provide and to not rub it in your face. And it's your duty as his wife to thank him for that provision. And in this way, we can maintain harmony. We can maintain nice equilibrium. She doesn't feel like she's having the favors rubbed in her face, and he doesn't feel like he's being taken for granted when she thanks him. This is the balance.